two separate chambers for the women. This side is the very first chamber. We have the second chamber just opposite us. Each chamber held 150 women together with their children in here. They were also not allowed to move outside. They defecated, urinated, vomited, had their menstruation in here. They sat and slept around their own mess. The three holes up here, that is the only source of light and ventilation for the captives. Please, do you remember in the male dungeon, I made mention of a drainage underground that carries away the liquid waste. But over in here, there is nothing like a drainage. And so after defecating, doing all sort of things in here, whenever it rains and then it happens that the rainwater has to come in here, the rainwater comes into the dungeon, mixed up with the already mess in here, it will still have to remain in the mess. Whenever the governor wants to rape any of the women in here, the governor comes with a servant. They stand right in front of the door. The governor looks through, points at any of them. The servant comes in and picks her out. She'll be taken to another place where she'll be given good food to eat, put on nice attire, take a nice bath. From there, she'll be handed over to the governor. After the governor is done abusing her, she'll be brought in here back again. But then as time goes on, if they realize she's pregnant, they will still have to come for her. The British had stone houses within the community. That is where these pregnant women were taken to. 3 months after delivery, officials in the castle would have to take the baby. The woman then returned back in here again. Those of the women who were not fortunate, but rather found pregnant in the ships, they were all dumped into the ocean. Let's see the door of knowledge. This very point, all hopes were lost. Enslaved Africans who went through this door lost contact with Africa. They lost their names, they lost their identity whilst they went through this very door. The door wasn't big as you see now. It was very short and very narrow. It was designed in such a way that only one person could move at a time. So when you get the opportunity to visit the Elmina Castle, you will see the original door of no return. Very, very short, very narrow. Please remember, not everyone who went through this side successfully made it in. No, not everyone. From wherever that these enslaved Africans were captured along West Africa, they would have to walk barefooted to the castles. On the way to the castle, some of them lost their lives because of inadequate food and water. Others fell into traps. Others were attacked by wild animals. Those of them who were found sick and weak, they were left on their way to the castle. Only few people made it to the castle. The few who got to the castle alive. Once again, the conditions in the dungeons, it wasn't the best. So many died in the dungeons. Those who survived the dungeons came out. They had to go through this door. They saw the ships. They saw the Atlantic Ocean. They never had an idea as to where they were taking them to. Some of them voluntarily decided to jump overboard into the ocean just to prevent themselves from going to unknown destination. Whenever the ships were overloaded, they needed to make sure the ships become stable on the ocean. Instead of them to offload items in the ships into the ocean, no. Rather, they would offload enslaved Africans into the ocean. The worst part of the journey was the Middle Passage, where human beings were made to lie side by side, unable to move or sit up, hands and legs in chains and in shackles, human beings defecating and vomiting. One could not even get their own hands to even clean their mouth. It was not unusual to wake up, see the person chained next to you dead, sometimes decomposed. So many people lost their lives when they went through this side. And so progressively in the life of a captive, it never got better for them. It only got worse as the day passes by. As the number of people taken away from Africa to the Americas and the Caribbean, we do not know, but always it has been estimated. I quote from the late president of Guinea. He said 60 million enslaved Africans. taken from Africa to the Americas and the Caribbean. Out of the 60 million, only 12 million survived the voyage. 48 million perished crossing the Atlantic Ocean. So many people lost their lives when they went through the side. But I'm going to open up the door. Let us see what is out here. This very point is about a 50 the ships are already parked over here. This part of the beach, it is very shallow from this side. Bigger ships were not moving to this side. Bigger ships would have to dock 70 to 100 meters away from this side. They convey the captives to smaller boats to the bigger ones. The journey has to continue from there. And so mostly transporting of the captives was mostly done in the evening, just to prevent the local people from seeing what was going on. The floating casket, the Europeans refers to as ships, had names like Jesus, Glory of Africa, God is able, Brother, Liberty, Santa Maria. These were names for slave ships. Let's have a look on top of the door. What do you see? No, we are not moving. What do you see on top of it?
A door of return.
Yes, the same door it has been named as the Door of Return. 1998, when Ghana celebrated Emancipation Day for the very first time, 2 bones of 2 enslaved Africans were exiled from New York and Jamaica, representing the people of the diaspora. That is Samuel Carson and Madam Crystal. They flown the 2 bones down to Ghana. When you are traveling from Accra to Cape Coast, there is a village along the way called Abante, where you can locate Fort Amsterdam just up on the hill. From Accra to Abante, they travel by road. But from Abante to this part of the castle, all the crew decided not to travel by road again. They would only continue the journey to the castle through the Atlantic Ocean. But why through the Atlantic Ocean? It is because the ancestors were taken to the Americas through the Atlantic Ocean. If the descendants of the ancestors are returning back home, then there is a need for them to also use the Atlantic Ocean. They got here a very short but a very impressive ceremony was done just right in front of the door. After the ceremony, the 2 bones were ushered through the door of return. That ceremony was very symbolical. The meaning of that ceremony means that the chains has been broken, and for that matter, our brothers and sisters in the diaspora should return back to the continent again. So let us not forget, the Black Americans, they are not white people, they are not from America, they are all from Africa. It is because of the injustice that occurred in here. That is how come today they found themselves in the Americas and the Caribbean. So it was named as the Door of Return to welcome them back home whenever they wish or they feel they want to come back. They should do so. And so these are some of the reasons why Ghana celebrated the year of return, just to invite our brothers and sisters back to the continent again. And so later the 2 bones, they were reburied at Asan's slave market, where the captives took their last African bath. So the Door of Return is to welcome our brothers and sisters back to the continent again. And so on this note, I say welcome back home.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody at all will be taken into the dungeon. The person will first of all have to visit the site for European doctors and nurses to examine and check his fitness level. From there, that person will be brought and taken into the dungeon. So basically, the whole of this area was an auction block. This is where they determined who to buy and who not to buy. But please remember, not everyone who was brought up here was bought. They were brought in here by middlemen. Anybody who wasn't bought from this side, whoever brought that person in here must take that person back. The middlemen, they were not willing to do so. They move a bit inland, they abandon them on the way, and they continue with the journey. And so even if you are not bought from this side, your chances of surviving was still low, because you could be in the forest, you end up eaten up by an animal. The whole of this area was an auction block for the British. Alright, so any final question before I conclude? For now, before we bring the tour to an end, in 1992, when Ghana celebrated an African Historical Theatre Festival, Panafest, for the very first time, the National House of Chiefs. All the chiefs in the country came together to unveil a plaque just at the left-hand side of the 𝙏𝙗𝙖𝙣𝙠 𝙔𝙤𝙧, which reads this way: in everlasting memory of the anguish of our ancestors, may those who died rest in peace. May those who return find their root. May humanity never again perpetrate such injustice against humanity. We, the living, vow to uphold this. They unveiled a plaque as a sign of apology because their predecessors, in one way or the other, also took part in the trade. They've thought it wise that a whole lot of injustice has been committed against innocent people. They are asking us to forgive them, and they will do their very best to make sure such injustice never repeats itself in any way or in any form again. We're about to end the tour now. The big question we all need to ask ourselves is that the dungeons are empty. The cells are also empty now. Nobody's in the cell, nobody's in the dungeon now. But still, the question lies that is slavery over? No, slavery is not over. It is still going on in different ways, in different forms. Please, as you've come here today to learn about this history, let us all go back home, educate our families and friends about what we've learned today. Africans, people of African descent, never again should we allow ourselves to be oppressed, dominated, full to fighting one another. Let us stand together as one people. We can also make Africa a better place, for it is only in unity that we can make Africa a better place. Divided we are weak, together we are much, much stronger. So this is where we end our guided tour of the castle. I wish you all safe journey back home to meet some other day, some other time. Thank you very much for coming. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you too. Thank you too. Thank you too.
Thank you.